You wake up at 2:47 in the morning and your phone is face down on the nightstand. You didn't set an alarm. Something else pulled you out of sleep. You don't check the time first. You check the account. You do the math before your eyes are even open. Rent is Friday. Car payment hits Monday. You've got $380 and you haven't bought groceries yet this week. You do this quietly in the dark so you don't wake anyone. The same math in the same dark that you've been running your whole adult life. You put the phone down. You stare at the ceiling. Sleep doesn't come back for a long time. If that's familiar, if that math happens before your alarm goes off, this video is going to change something. Not because I'm going to tell you to budget harder or stop getting coffee or make more money. You've heard all of that before. That's not what this is. This is about one number, $10,000, and what happens to you, not your account, you, the actual person, the moment you cross it. Because people talk about $10,000 like it's a savings milestone. Like the point is the number on the screen. It isn't. The number is just when something underneath everything else finally shifts. When the math in the dark at 2:47 in the morning stops being an emergency and starts being a choice. Most people never find out there's a difference between those two things. You're about to. If this is the kind of content you want more of, the real mechanics of money without the gloss, subscribe right now. This channel exists to show you how the financial system actually works from the inside. Understanding what $10,000 does before you get there is exactly what gets you there faster. Now, let's keep going. Right now, today, you are making every financial decision inside a cage. You probably don't call it that. You call it being careful, being realistic. But there's a version of careful that's really just fear with a spreadsheet attached to it. And when your savings are under $1,000, almost every decision you make is fear-based. Not stupid, not careless. Fear-based. That distinction matters more than most people realize. You don't leave the job you hate because you can't afford a gap in income, not even 3 weeks, not even one missed paycheck. The cage isn't your boss. The cage is the number in the account. You don't push back on the salary offer, because if they rescind it, you don't have time to wait for the next one. So you take what they give you and say thank you. You work the overtime you didn't want because coming up short before the 28th is worse than being tired. You stay in the apartment with the mold spreading in the bathroom corner because breaking the lease costs more than you have right now. You sit through conversations you want to end. You say yes to things you want to say no to. You don't apply for the opportunity that requires even a 2-week wait to hear back. Every decision goes through the same filter first. Can I afford to be wrong here? And the answer is almost always no. So you don't make the choice. The choice gets made for you by the balance. The cage isn't your circumstances. The cage is the constant inability to absorb any mistake at all. And you've been living inside it long enough that you started calling the cage just how life works. It isn't. $10,000 doesn't fix everything. Let's be honest about that right now. Bills don't stop. Stress doesn't vanish. Life doesn't get easy. What changes is one specific thing that turns out to affect every other thing. The filter changes. You stop running decisions through, can I afford to be wrong? And you start running them through, is this actually what I want? Those are two completely different questions. And if you have never had $10,000 saved, you have never made a major life decision using the second one. Every job you took, every city you stayed in, every conversation you kept small, every opportunity you let pass quietly, it went through the first. That question has been running your life. You just called it being practical. $10,000 doesn't hand you a perfect life. It gives you the ability to ask a different question. And that one change touches everything else. Here's what actually happens the day you hit it. You're not standing on a mountain. There's no ceremony. It's probably a Tuesday. You open the app the way you've been opening it every few days for months, watching the number climb slowly. And there it is, 5 digits. $10,000 and something. You stare at it 1 second longer than usual. You might screenshot it. You probably don't tell anyone. You close the app and go about your day. But something happened that you cannot undo. Your nervous system just received a piece of information it has never had before, that you can absorb a hit. Not every hit, not a catastrophic one, but the average hit, the kind that used to wipe out your entire month. That one doesn't end you now. Your brain knows it. Not like you read it somewhere. Your body knows it. And that knowledge starts changing things before you even realize it's changing them. You've been in this situation. The car makes a noise on a Wednesday morning. Not a good noise. The kind that tightens your stomach before you're even out of a driveway. You call the shop. You sit in the waiting room doing math on your phone. Belt? Maybe $300. Alternator? $600. Something worse. You stop. Because the math doesn't matter. You don't have options. You have one option. Fix it. Charge it. Figure it out later. You sign the paper when they come out. You tap the card. You drive home quieter than you came. Now run that same Wednesday with $10,000 in savings. The noise still happens. Your stomach still tightens. You're human. But the next 10 seconds are different. Instead of the options collapsing into one, they open. You can get a second opinion before committing. You can wait a few days. You can decide the car isn't worth fixing and take your time finding a replacement instead of grabbing the first thing a dealer shows you because you need wheels by Monday. A $480 repair is not a crisis with $10,000 in the account. It's a decision. A real one with options where you actually get to choose. That is not a small thing. That is a completely different life wearing the same Wednesday. Your manager calls you in. Restructuring. Your position is eliminated. 4-week severance. They slide the paper across the desk. Before $10,000, you sign it. You go home in a panic. You apply everywhere and take the first offer because the bills don't care that you're being thoughtful. You end up somewhere worse than where you left because you needed the gap to stop. You've seen this happen. You may have lived it. After $10,000, you ask for the weekend to think. They say yes. They always would have. You just never had the cushion to use that time. You go home. You think about what you actually want. You apply for things you actually want. You negotiate because you can say no to a bad offer and survive it. The ability to say no in a negotiation is the only thing that makes the other side take you seriously. Before $10,000, you never had it. After, it's yours. And it changes every career conversation that follows. Here's one nobody talks about, and it matters more than people expect. After you hit $10,000, institutions start treating you differently. Not because you told them. Not because anything about you looks different. The systems just see a different signal and respond to it. The next time you go to finance something, a car, a home, anything, the rate you're offered is not the same rate you'd have gotten at $200. The bank that would have declined a personal loan without hesitation now offers you terms that aren't embarrassing. The credit card offers that arrive in the mail start looking like actual credit. Real limits, reasonable rates, not secured cards that want your own money as collateral just to lend it back to you. You walk into a branch and the interaction shifts. Not dramatically, not like royalty, but the teller doesn't move through you like your luggage on a belt. The same fee that would have taken 3 phone calls and a manager at $200 gets handled in one conversation. None of this is fair. All of it is real. The financial system doesn't respond to who you are. It responds to what the account says about you. And at $10,000, what it says is, this person is not a risk. And not being seen as a risk opens doors that stay closed at every balance below it. The one almost nobody mentions is this. You stop waking up at 2:47 in the morning. Not immediately. Not the week after you hit it. But slowly, over a few months, the 2:00 a.m. Math sessions start happening less, then barely at all. Because the thing pulling you out of sleep was never the dark. It was the pressure. The low-level, constant pressure of knowing one wrong thing would tip everything over. When that pressure starts to lift, your sleep changes. Your body stops running threat calculations at midnight. And when your sleep changes, everything tied to it changes, too.